think we're actually live again. Let's see if my phone gives me a,
My Facebook says we're live.
well, that's a good thing. Mine didn't even notify me. Imagine that. All right, well, let's go to our 2.5 minute countdown that I can never, ever remember. And we will be back. And folks, we have a lot to talk about, including what might be the last ride of the Three Amigos. So we'll be back in 2.5 minutes. Tag a friend, grab some popcorn, and get ready to strap in. M&M peanuts tonight, huh? Just wait till your wife sees that.
My good, yeah, but hers, like, when she was pregnant, man, I could not buy enough of these dadgum things. They're like a 3 pound box, and she was putting them down.
Well, at least she was, it's kind of a normal thing. It wasn't like, some weird pickle juice thing or whatever that a lot of women tend to eat.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I'm gonna tell you, they're good, and I gotta stop eating them.
I told everybody to get popcorn, not M&Ms. But, hey, M&Ms are good. You need a little chocolate and sugar rush for tonight.
Well, so tonight we've got a ton of stuff. Like, we're gonna go all around the world in Bossier Parish, so we're even gonna talk about First Church, Rex.
What?
First
You gotta be
Church.
kidding. Now, we hadn't visited the church in a while. I mean, kind of been heathens with First Bossier. Oh,
I mean,
excuse me,
look,
First Church. The first.
rumors abound about First Church. I don't. You may not even heard it yet, but there are rumors floating around. But in addition to the First Church, I mean, how could you talk about First Church and not talk about the Bossier fiasco?
There's lots of fiascos in Bossier, and some of them do tend to be tied to certain church-going folks. And I guess I better make sure there's no clouds in the sky so I don't get struck by lightning in here.
Or black vans at the end of the street. I'm not worried about the clouds as much as I am the black vans at the end of the street.
Exactly. All right, so what else are we going to talk about tonight? I'm kind of scanning down our little list here. Let's see. Oh, yeah, CAO and project coordinator. Hmm.
Bossier City's got a big date. Wait a minute, that was today.
It was today, but it got moved to tomorrow. In case, folks haven't seen that yet, the city council meeting was scheduled for today. It's like every other Tuesday or whatever. But according to the city council and city councilman at large Chris Smith, he's been, posting a lot of updates on Facebook. Apparently, there was a typo and they set the meeting for noon. So they couldn't get a notice 24 hours ahead of time as required by law to change the time to, what do they normally do, at 3 p.m. or whatever. So
I,
anyway, they set the thing for tomorrow.
I'm not so sure that it wasn't because they knew we would be coming on tonight.
Well, I'm not really that much of a conspiracy theorist. However, the political planning guy in me would say that they did that on purpose to gin up the base, and so that one particular item on the agenda would be publicized and would cause a certain mayor some more grief in a 24-hour period. What say
Well,
you,
look,
Mr. Lowry?
well, look, we're not going to let Bossier City just dominate everything. I mean, look, Bossier City School Board and Adam Bass, I mean, they got to get them a piece of the pie, right?
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to talk about them, and we have some sound video excerpts from the school board meeting, which was last Thursday, which is part of the reason we didn't do Louisiana Watch, because at the school board meeting, by the time we got out of that, and it just didn't work out for doing Louisiana Watch, so we'll try to do that maybe this Thursday if we can. But yeah,
I
there were
mean,
some interesting things that meeting revealed as well.
and what good would a Bossier Watch show be if we didn't cover some police jury stuff?
Oh, the police jury's back into play now? So
Well,
we got
not
we,
exactly the police jury.
we've got the city council, the school board, the police jury. If we talk about the Cypress district, it's going to be like the quadfecta. That's not
All of
really a
it.
word, but you know.
Maybe so. Whatever. We'll create words tonight. We'll be inventive. I mean, we got to
Okay.
patent something so we can make a dollar.
All right. Well, to be clear, the city council meeting was today at 3 p.m. It's been moved to tomorrow, which would be Wednesday at 3 p.m. They will be streaming it. And of course, we always encourage as many people to go to those city council meetings as possible. And we're going to talk about some of that here in just a minute or two.
Yeah. So, as you can see, my name, I'm Duke, and that's Rex, and we're the hosts of this Bossier Watch. So, if any of y'all watching have never watched before, we appreciate you being here. And if you can, like, as Rex always says, and share. And we need to get more viewers. So,
Yes,
all
we
of you
do.
watching, invite people to like our show. I mean, we're giving you hot off the presses information here that you're not going to get out of the mainstream media. You're certainly not going to get it out of some of your politicians. And, you know, help out here. We spread the message. This is how we get good governance is by shining a light on things. Right, Rex?
You are correct there, Mr. Lowry. And our good friend Wes Shepard says superfecta. And so we also like to, like you said, Duke, we like to have commentary in here. So folks, y'all comment away. That also lets me know, because I'm kind of controlling the tech side of this, or trying to anyway. That lets us make sure that the chat's working and all that. We're actually publishing directly to YouTube Live and to Facebook Live as well. And so anyway, by commenting, I can make sure that everything's going along like it's supposed to. Anyway, so what's up on tap first? Where shall we go
Well,
first? Are we going to talk about the first church, or are we going to talk about our state reps? I mean,
First Church. The rumor mill on the street is, and I think this is like maybe a little bit of repetitive rumor mill, but so do you remember, Rex? Maybe in a previous show we talked about First Bossier. We call it First Church for y'all watching. But you remember us talking about maybe that there was a defection from First Church?
yes, yeah. As a matter of fact, it was probably back in the episode where we showed who was that they had up there talking at the church, but it wasn't political. Oh, that was the mayor, former mayor, Lowell Walker, and who was that along with him? Was that David Montgomery?
The king.
The king himself was gracing the presence of the church, but it was not a political thing.
No, not at all. I mean, I kept watching to see Tommy Chandler up there, but that never happened for some reason. I don't know what the deal was.
You know, what I thought that a lot of churches should do, the reason that they can't really talk about politics is, the whole IRS and, non-tax status and tax exemption status and all that. Why not just do away with the tax exemption and then they could just talk about whatever they wanted?
They could even run for office. In
Sure.
fact, they could get their whole staff to take over parties, and I mean, what's the limit, right?
Yeah, they could officially run for office and officially politic, not just the whisper campaign type thing. But anyway, I'm digressing here. So, what's up with our with
Well,
our
the
nice
rumors of
church with the football field or soccer
the
field or whatever?
rumors are that, of course, I mean, Mike Johnson, Raymond Cruz, and crew have all defected from First Church and
Hmm.
all going to Cyprus. They're all supposedly now Team Cyprus. You heard
Really?
that?
Well, I've kind of heard a little bit about that, but kind of clue us in a little bit. I mean, why does that
Well,
really even matter?
I mean, the thing is because kind of there's also some rumors that there may be some issues or some problems at First Church.
Really?
Yeah, it would seem that way that there's maybe some questions that are unanswered and some things unresolved that a lot of people are starting to ask some questions about. It seems.
Well, and just, I mean, what kind of questions could those be? I mean, how could, I mean, we know that they had a fire and it did a lot of damage to the church. And as you can see here, I'm actually trying to resize this as we go. So that's from the Shreveport Times, some of their coverage of the fire. And so, that was a bad deal. They did get, I think they've
Well,
completed most, if not maybe all of the renovations since then.
yeah, it seems like a lot has happened since the church burnt down. I mean, since the church burnt down, you basically had the church staff essentially try to take over the Republican Party up here. A lot of the staff ran for office. I can't imagine who motivated those individuals to all try to do that, but they did it. And then you had, the a mayoral candidate and or maybe we should say the anti Three Amigos candidates all on stage up there. And one of the Amigo candidates, who's been a member of that church forever, tried to get on stage and he was rebuked. Wasn't even allowed near it.
It's funny how all that works out, isn't it? And yet, here we are, fast forward to today, and that little battle and bucking of horns is literally still going on.
It would seem so. Well, as the rumor would have it, the Johnsons and the Crews and their crews all defected to Cyprus, and then you got some questions about, some maybe money questions. I don't know. There's a lot going on there, and I mean, churchtainment is a tough business, so they say.
Yeah, apparently it is. Now, this sounds kind of like rats jumping off a ship. I'm sorry, why would our local politicians and elected officials be jumping ship?
Yeah, I mean that is a figure of speech you were using. I wouldn't go as far as to say rats. I mean, if
No, I,
anybody's
I
got,
wasn't referring to Raymond as a rat.
yeah,
I
no, I
like
mean,
Raymond.
but
Raymond's a good guy.
I I can tell you there's a lot of people that went there are no longer going there and have moved, but it begs the question, why why or what is going on down there? There's something in the water, there's something going on, and I'm wondering what is going on.
Well, that really begs another question. Are we going to be able in the future to reveal what's going on there or put our 2 cents into the mix?
Well, I feel confident that we're going to glean a little bit of light on the subject. In fact, we've already gotten a little bit of information today, and we're going to keep digging on it a little bit more. But you know what? I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just wondering why these guys jumped ship and they're not still down there trying to fix the problem.
I've got plenty to say about that, but I'll be nice tonight. I'm in my orange sherbet shirt here, my reflective, breathable shirt here. I'm comfortable. I'm trying to stay in a good mood
But
overall, and so I'll be nice to tonight.
but but I mean, that is in Bossier City, and
Right.
as you know, I mean, Bossier City as a whole is kind of a fiasco at the moment, in which I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. We need to ruffle a little feathers. We need to have things kind of overturned a little bit every now and then. Change is good.
Yeah, change is good. So, speaking of change and uh, what's going on with the city, I think we have an exclusive video clip that we can show.
Are you are you talking about the Migos? Is this something that
Yes. Yeah, we've got an exclusive video, folks, if y'all don't know. And if you're from South Bossier, you might want to go ahead and tag a friend because you got about 30, 45 seconds. But we've got an exclusive video here of what we termed or coined the Three Amigos, which were,
now
go ahead.
now you know that there's no Sobo Novo thing, right?
According to who?
Well, I mean, it depends on what side of the political fence you are. We're supposed to be one, but there's no Sobo Novo.
Well, I can just tell you this. And so, folks, I'm going to be on my soapbox for about a minute or so you can go ahead and tag some more South Bossier friends in because you're going to want to see this exclusive video we have of the Three Amigos. That's Chris Smith, Shane Cheatham, and Tommy Chandler all together having a drink. This is exclusive footage that we have, but let me just give you my 2 cents on the whole South Bossier, North Bossier thing. We heard during the campaign, it was nothing but South Bossier, South Bossier, South Bossier, South Bossier. As a matter of fact, arguably, because of the turnout in South Bossier, certainly Shane Cheatham was elected. Chris Smith was elected councilman at large. And that also, of course, the support from South Bossier helped push Tommy Chandler well over the top in defeating Low Walker, our longtime mayor. So South Bossier is definitely an issue in this town. And let me tell you how I know North Bossier is. It's been mentioned at some of the council meetings by a couple of councilmen. And I've been in a meeting, one-on-one meetings, and some folks from North Bossier absolutely want to make this out to be a civil war if the recall effort continues and some other things that are going on. So it's this big chessboard, and on one side there's North Bossier, and on the other side there's South Bossier. Now, somebody prove me wrong.
Now, wait a minute. You telling me we got footage of the Amigos and audio of the Amigos drinking together and having a little dialogue?
Well, it's
That's
kind of a
that's go.
partial drink.
So we got secret audio and video here that's going to be enlightening to the people of Bossier City about what actually is going on in Bossier City.
Yeah, it just summarizes it with just a minute and a half, 2 minutes of video. So shall we go ahead and roll it?
If the people of Bossier City are ready for this, I think we might ought to. I mean,
Ah,
this is like secret spy stuff, right?
fire in the hole. Here we go. And by the way, they're on horseback. Well, look, there's the mayor and Chris and Shane Cheatham. So Shane's
Shane
trying for the first drink.
Shane's looking a little haggard there.
He's got a few extra gray hairs.
Chris, oh,
Chris, it's
Chris,
about the same.
how does that taste, brother?
Oh, look, there's the mayor. I can't tell if that's water or Kool-Aid, though. It might be Kool-Aid.
It might be that newfangled clear Kool-Aid. It allows you to go bi-directional. He-
One of my favorite movies anyway.
Infamous.
And of course, the appropriate lip balm for the photo ops.
Lip balm?
So, folks, if you don't get the meaning of that video, you haven't been paying attention to the city council and Bossier City politics in the last 30, 45 days. But here's the deal is, you know, it's the one thing that I hoped Tommy wasn't going to stub his toe and do, and that's make some pretty definitive promises and statements, and then just completely, let me put it nicely, back away from them. As a matter of fact, I do have footage as a reminder, so let me go ahead and roll this up. This is from the South Bossier lunch meeting, and I just pulled out about a minute and a half to play here. So I want you to play this. See if you remember these quotes, dude.
I've got one department that I am working hard, and I'm not going to stop. I've been working on it all day long, and I was wanting to change Cheatham. You want right hand man? Will you please consider my right hand, please? I'm trying to get him in there for.
What did he say? Amanda Nottingham.
Oh, yeah, no, that doesn't look like Amanda unless she's gained a little bit of weight and got a beard going on. Yeah.
He would be a great asset to the whole Bossier City, and he would have helped me so much, and I sure want him to still be in there, and I thank him for staying with me. Thank you. I have not given up on this man. I wanted him from day one. He's going to be plus for me, plus for Bossier City, all of Bossier City, not just south, but North Bossier too. And I've not given up. Actually, I'll be nice right now. I have not given up on him. I will not give up on him. He's my pick, okay? North Bossier too. And I've not given up. Actually, I'll be nice right now. I have not given up on him. I will not give up on him.
I'm going to play that one more time.
I've not given up. Actually, I'll be nice right now. I have not given up on him. I will not give up on him. He's my pick, okay?
I will not give up on him.
And you know what he has now done? I mean, for those of you who aren't aware, if you're paying attention to social media, of course, and if you've read Bossier Now and all that, then you're probably already aware of it. But here is who Tommy is now going to nominate as CAO. Was going to nominate her as, now correct me if I'm wrong, Duke, was it projects coordinator or special events coordinator?
Yeah, special events, project, one of those. Yeah, definitely. But I got to tell you, I don't think was the original plan.
Well, probably not. And let me say this first and foremost. So this is a picture of Amanda Nottingham. She has been the legislative assistant for State Rep Dodie Horton for, I don't know, a couple of years now. And I have a whole lot of respect for Amanda. I've had the privilege to actually work with her a little bit on a couple of different projects. Super smart girl. And I'm not saying she would do a bad job as CAO at all. All right. But there's a problem with this. And do you know what the problem is, dude?
Boy, I don't know what you're going to say, but I know what is on my mind, but I will defer to what you're going to say, and then I'll circle back as the president's spokesperson says.
Well, here's the thing is I don't know whether Shane Cheatham would have been worth a flip as a CAO. He may have been really good. I have a suspicion that he probably would have because, he's definitely qualified in according to the city charter that our good friend David Montgomery, King David, likes to quote so much. says the mayor shall nominate for confirmation by the city council a CAO. This shall be an unclassified employee position. The CAO will serve as executive and administrative assistant to the mayor, performing such duties as assigned by the mayor. Do you see anywhere in there about any other qualifications?
Now, that's an interesting thing that you point out there, Rex, because it wasn't too terribly long. In fact, right before Shane Cheatham's name came up in the mix, that somebody was floating around out there that you needed to have a master's degree. Remember that?
Yes, there have been those comments. And as a matter of fact, one of the complaints against Shane by none other than Bubba Don Williams, who's being chased after by recall people, was that Shane was not qualified, but he couldn't specify or discern what the qualifications were supposed to be. And remember, David Montgomery he was going to hand the mayor, he ordered Phyllis, the secretary, to get the mayor a copy of the city charter.
Now, as I remember, it wasn't just one councilman. I may be wrong on this, but as I understood it, there were multiple councilmen was talking about something to the effect of a city the size of Bossier that their CAO had a master's degree. Yet, here we are, and Amanda Nottingham, I have to say, the only thing that I know about her is I have nothing but high regard for Dodie Horton, and that I did watch her presentation to the council regarding HB 630, and she made a wonderful presentation. She spoke well, but her resume, I don't know. I'm wondering what her resume looks like in comparison to Shane Cheatham.
Yeah, here's what I know. I think she probably has a degree in education. I'm only speculating here because I hadn't pulled up her resume or anything like that. And so I think she's got teaching experience. I think she's got some nonprofit experience, helping lead or leading a nonprofit. And you're right, her help in HB 630 as well as a host of other things for Dodie has been spot on and highly professional. So, I'm not saying she is any more or less qualified really than Shane. My problem is that Tommy sat there at that lunch meeting, and he's done it in other places as well. And he said Shane was his guy and he was going to fight for Shane. But you know what the problem is? Tommy has not fought one little bit. He let David get the best of him at that first city council meeting after Tommy was elected in April. And now he just cowers down every time King David says anything. And that's the problem that I have. Tommy, again, I said this the last show. Whoever is advising you sucks. Get rid of them now. You have foxes in the hen house. More than one.
The beatings will continue until you submit.
Sure. Everybody that watches the city council videos, I'll tell you what, I'll give you some more free advice. Go read the charter. There are more ways than one to get under King David's skin as mayor. Go read the charter. Take King David's advice. Go read the charter.
So, Rex, as you know, Amanda Nottingham, again, this isn't a beat up on Amanda Nottingham because we both agree that she's a fine individual and we think she's a good person. We really do. But she was initially put forward as special event or project coordinator, whichever one it is. And then all of a sudden there's this change and she's moved to be appointed as the CEO. Do you think that was by accident, or do you think that was originally the plan?
Well, part of me wants to say that there are some good political advisors who scheme this up and it's part of a chess game. But the other part of me says it's just a reaction thing. They're flying by the seat of their pants and they don't have a clue.
I don't know if you're right there because the rumor mill has it that her being CAO was a part of the original plan.
Very well could be. And I want to point out, I want to pause for a second. Let me point out, Matt's got a good comment here. He says, anyone who resigns before they have the job locked in doesn't have the instincts. And Matt, you've got a good point. A lot of people from South Bossier have brought that up that voted for Shane. He won pretty handily against Scott Irwin, and I don't know what the percentage is. I don't think it's a
Look,
majority. It's a
Rex,
percentage of people have a problem with that.
Rex Moncrief, if you make a commitment to me or Matt Varnell makes a commitment to me, I'm going to go all the way to my grave with it. That's the way it goes. If I make a commitment or you make a commitment to me, it's for life.
Yeah, we're going in the burning building together. Period. And Shane's commenting. Hello, Shane. Let's see what Shane had to say here. It's in the middle here, but it might be kind of small. Replying to Matt, or if they had taken the seat, they could not have worked for the city for 2 years. One of the two answers is right. Good point there, Mr. Cheatham. And
well,
Shane, I hope you were there to see your little drinking game with Tommy Chandler and Chris Smith a few minutes ago. If not, you need to go back and play it back later.
Well, so the rumor mill, let's just get back to the rumor mill. The rumor mill is that Richard Ray had his hand in this.
What? Not Richard Ray?
That's what but wait.
He's on more. Tommy's side.
Richard Ray has got a partner in crime now. Did you know that?
Oh, no, I didn't. Is it like the dynamic duo?
Well, let me say it this way. Queen Cockroach.
No way.
I'm not. That's what I'm being told.
Is this Revenge of the Assistants?
I don't know. I mean, but Revenge of the Educated Assistants. I don't know. So you got to wonder, why would I say it that way?
Well, you've got to be picking on Queen Cockroach because she threw some F-bombs and then declared her hatred for you in a public meeting, by the way.
She did, yeah, she did declare publicly she hated me, and she did drop F-bombs out there out loud in front of God and everybody. I mean, rumor has it Raymond Cruz wouldn't like those kinds of things, but I guess he can, what's that with the monkeys, all that stuff, when it's convenient.
You know what's interesting, and I've said this before, so I'll say it again. People sometimes have asked me why I don't call certain representatives Representative so-and-so or Senator so-and-so or whatever. When you've been in the back rooms with them and heard some of the things that they say when they're not in a public setting, all of a sudden the title goes away. Let me just put it that way. And I'm not naming anybody individually because y'all know who you are. So, okay, sorry.
Yeah, well, that could be so many people, Rex, because I know you've been there as well, and I've been there behind the scenes. And there's one thing that's behind the scenes, and there's one thing that's out front in the public, right?
Yes, there is. Okay, so anyway, now that we're kind of going off on this little tangent here, let's bring this back around to the city council meeting tomorrow and the nomination.
No. We got to go back to the rumor mill because I didn't actually.
Back to the rumor mill. Okay.
We were gibberishing. So,
okay.
Richard Ray and Allie Feaster. So there's this rumor out there, right? And here's what the rumor is. Mm-hmm. The rumor is that, okay, nothing against Amanda Nottingham, but it said that her qualifications are less than Shane Cheatham, right?
On paper, you could make that argument, yeah.
So if those of you watching, if you're not politicos and you don't to think that people are this devious, I mean, would be an understatement. But the rumor is that Amanda Nottingham was put up to be able to fail.
No way.
She was put up so that she could be put down so that then someone who meets the qualifications with a master's degree could come sliding in after the fact.
No, surely they don't orchestrate or try to orchestrate things like that. You got to be kidding, dude.
I'm just telling you. I mean, you heard it yourself. We all heard it. And don't take our words for it. Go back before Shane Cheatham, and when there was the discussion about cities our size having a master's degree. Now, I think when an associate degree, a bachelor's degree, and then a master's degree, I mean, when you get to a master's degree, that kind of thins the herd out quite a bit, don't you think?
It narrows down the field, yes.
Well, lo and behold, guess who I'm told has a master's degree and got it while they were an assistant.
Oh, it's the battle of the assistants. So
The
let's see.
back.
So we have one rep and her assistant is Amanda Nottingham, and we have another rep and his assistant is the same one that told me why he didn't support the civil fireman's thing with the voting deal. Blah. Raymond Cruz's assistant. Oh, Allie Feaster Smith.
Allie Fisher, she's got a master's degree.
If we say it again, it's like Beetlejuice. She might show up in the chat.
And the rumor is her and Richard Ray are peas and carrots, and that Amanda Nottingham was their sacrificial lamb. I mean, their person to put up for CAO. But there was a question as to whether Cheatham would step out of the way or not step out of the way. So they decided they were going to go at it for the special events or what have you. But then that changed all of a sudden.
Interesting. All right, folks. So while we're sitting here jaw-jacking around about all of this, in the comments, I want to know what you think is going to happen at the meeting tomorrow. Is Amanda Nottingham going to be nominated and confirmed as the new CAO, or do we have a bunch of male chauvinists on the city council that are going to vote her down? It's a one or the other.
Now that is such an amazing frame for you to put it in, because as I understand it, some councilmen have already declared what their position was.
No way. They're against women. They're against school teachers.
No, I didn't say that. No, I didn't say none of that. Don't put words in my mouth. That gum. That's almost as if I'm. Well, I'm going to stop.
I'm sorry. I'm way off the script now.
Yeah, you're going. Woo. So, yeah, I have it on good authority that at like Rotary Club and some different meetings that you've got some current councilmen who have declared that they have a CAO nominee that they approve of. Now, what is amazing to me is if the qualifications are less than Cheatham, it begs the question, what's the difference?
Yeah, look, recall folks, if that happens, there's some more fuel for the fire for the recall of Bubba Don. And I have to clarify which recall because there's like multiple recalls going on now. Let's see here. Barry Butler says nominated and tabled. Michael Ferris says, is Amanda controlled by David Montgomery? If so, she'll be approved. I can pretty much answer that one, Michael, and it's a definitive no. Toby says David will vote her down unless he thinks he can score a date with her. Wow. I'm glad I didn't have to say that.
I don't know about that one right there, but
okay, folks, come on now. Is Amanda going to be, is she going to get a nomination from a councilman because the mayor can just, put her up for nomination? Is she going to actually get a nomination? And is she going to get a second? And then is there going to be a vote or more crickets?
Crickets? You mean cockroaches?
Crickets, cockroaches. Yeah.
Well, while we're waiting on these, I would point out that guess who Allie Feaster Smith is campaigning for, and I understand Richard Ray is as well. I understand they're currently campaigning for Juliana Parks and Allie Aiello for judge this coming spring.
Where have I heard those names before?
I mean, they are trying. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I mean, I heard not long ago that Allie Feaster Smith was vying for the $157,000 a year job out at the Cypress Black Bayou. I mean,
well, Robert Berry better watch out. Maybe that's why he's been in the news lately, helping out the evacuees, which is a good thing for the folks that have, from down south that have been hit by Ida. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but maybe that's why he's been in the news lately.
Somebody said to us, they said, look, you better watch out. They said, Mike Johnson's trying to get Allie Feaster out there. You don't want to get rid of Robert Berry, you'll get Allie Feaster.
What a tangled web is woven. Okay. So
She
we'll
she
we'll
hates
see.
she hates me, so I mean I don't care.
Yeah, you
But
may as well give her plenty of reason to hate you, not just a little bit of reason, plenty of
that's
reason.
that's right. I mean, who's
Yeah,
and Juliana's somewhere saying, "My gosh, why have I got her on my campaign? Why is she helping me?"
yeah. And Michael, appreciate the comment out there. Um, we'll see. I very well could be wrong about this. This has twists and turns and people that are advising that don't know what they're doing and a mayor that's literally scared of King David. I mean, this is just soap opera central around here. Okay. Don't you like our live feed being right in the middle of the show now? This is great. Anyway, all right.
Yeah, that's,
Well, so let's kind of segue and move on because we can
well,
beat this dead
so
horse for a
so
while.
all this Bossier City drama, Rex, you know it and I know it. There is a solution to all of this.
Wait a minute. There is a solution, or you know somebody that has a solution, or we've got a solution. What kind of solution is this?
No, we have a solution. We have a
Yes.
solution. All of this drama with the three amigos, King David, or whether you want to call him the Hillary of Bossier City, whatever you choose, we've got a solution to the problem of Bossier City. Now, do you want to present at this show?
Well, we could start on it, and since we don't have a plan 100% finalized, maybe we just kind of mention it and give it, folks good reason to tune in next week. So, folks, Duke's not kidding. There is a solution to all this mess. And Duke, correct me if I'm wrong. It's all public record.
It's all public record,
No
and it's
smoke and
nothing.
mirrors, no super spy stuff, no proton mail stuff. Literally, it's all publicly available, and it is
So
right in front of everybody.
it's right in front of everybody's faces, and we have been right up to the precipice of it
Yeah.
for
As a
a
matter of fact,
while.
I mentioned it a couple of times tonight. I've kind of hinted at where it can be found.
You you got to read between the lines, but for everybody watching, next show next Tuesday, mark your calendars. Tell people Bossier Watch is going to provide the solution, and it's up to the people of Bossier. I hate to say demand because I don't think they really have to demand because even if you were a councilman in Bossier City, you can't deny the common sense. If you deny it, I mean, you're exposing yourself to. I hate to say being a fraud, but pretty much you are, right?
Pretty much. And Michael says the solution starts with Bubba Don recall. Yeah, that's kind of part of it, but it's actually a much simpler solution than that overall. And
Overall,
it's right there in front of everybody. It's been mentioned at city council meetings too. Part of it.
yeah.
Okay.
Tuesday
So that's
night,
going to
we're
be
on it.
next Tuesday night, folks. Let your friends know, and we'll have some, little informational deals leading up to it. But there is a plan. It is a viable plan to start getting all this under control.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, all we care about is our community being safer, being better governed, being better off for everybody. That's what everybody's wanting tonight. Michael Farris, yeah, I am buck wild tonight.
Yeah.
And Allie Feaster doesn't like it when I get buck wild.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay. So next week, we're coming back to the city council. We're going to reveal a solution to the problem. And it's completely legal, by the way. So what's up next on the agenda here? We've covered the city council. What about the school board thing?
Well, as a lot of people know, the Bossier Parish School Board and what was it, DeSoto, or maybe it was one of those school boards over there by Monroe. They had same night had this meeting, and they're going to go into dialogue about the mask mandate and the governor's order and a little bit more in depth. Now, I didn't get to attend because I got
All right.
sidetracked, but you did attend, and you even, I think, made some video or some audio.
Yeah, I videoed all but like the last 5 minutes of the meeting. I got a phone call and won't say from who, but that, hey, it might be a good idea to attend the meeting because, as we all saw on the national news, The Bessie board meeting, the last Bessie board meeting, was a complete fiasco. And they actually adjourned the meeting before getting to one of the main topics, and that's literally left the rest of the schools or the school systems in the state, pretty much all of them, kind of in limbo. So Bessie board member Michael Mellerin from District 4, we had him in our Bessie board debate. He attended the Bossier Parish School Board meeting last Thursday night and gave the Bossier School Board an update or a summary of what happened at that Bessie meeting fiasco. And he did a pretty good job. I've got a couple of clips here. Let me go ahead and let me play one. I've got the full video. And by the way, the full video that I shot will be posted on Bossier Watch at about 8:30 tonight. It's going to auto post. It's all but like the last 5 minutes. And so if you're interested in that, go ahead and check it out. But let me go ahead and let me play this clip, and I want you to hear what Michael Mellerin says as far as where the school board stands with the mask issue and the mandates and all that sort of thing. So here we go.
So as we sit here today, from talking to people in the AG's office, from talking to other attorneys, talking to local school boards, everyone, what we're faced with right now is there is no Bessie policy. There is no Bessie bulletin, which is, y'all know, bulletins are law when it comes to schools. There is no Bessie law. So Bessie doesn't have a law. The legislature doesn't have a law. At that point, the governor's mandate controls. I don't like it. I wish it wasn't the case. I wish we had been able to overturn it, because I think at the end of the day, what the governor's doing is overstepping, and I think he's taking away the right of the people of Louisiana to have a say in what happens. And I think he's violating the Constitution of Louisiana. That's my opinion. Now, I'm one person on Bessie. I tried to get this done. I tried to have it do this. I tried to have us do this. I wasn't able to. So right now, unfortunately, y'all are forced with a governor's mandate, and the governor is the only law on the book right now. That's it. We don't have a Bessie law. We don't have a legislative law.
So, did you pretty much catch the gist of what he said there?
I did, and we watched the Bessie board meeting, and exactly what he articulated is exactly what I observed.
Yeah, and that was his contention, and I was nice, didn't take him out of context or anything like that, because he is not saying he's in agreement with what happened at all. But without a Bessie mandate, or Bessie ruling or whatever, without our legislators doing anything while they were in session, which would have been difficult because I don't think they actually could this session. Anyway, that it's up to the governor. Now, my contention is that if the local school boards want to have the power to control the local school system and implement the plan that they had put in place just a month prior, then maybe they just need to take control of their local school system and wait for the governor to see if he's going to send state troopers up here and arrest them all.
I think in the previous show, you and I talked about a lack of leadership or our governance. People are getting sick of not having leaders in government, people who are willing to step up and say, this isn't right, or this is wrong, or having a spine. And I agree with you. I mean, in one of the most conservative Republican parishes in the state, what would it mean if this school board stepped up and said, you know what, we're not doing it. We're going to have a spine.
Look, how many times have we heard politicians say at meetings and speeches, I'm just one vote. I'm just one vote on the board. They said that at the school board meeting. Mellerin said it in one of his little summaries there at the school board meeting too. He's just one vote on the deal. I am so sick of hearing our politicians say that. That's a cop-out. Take a stand.
But it's not just this mask mandate, and it's not just our school board. I mean, it's not just them. We're not picking on them. But across the board, I mean, we're seeing our governance fail the people. I mean,
Right.
and I don't know exactly what it's supporting or what it's doing, but it's not to the benefit of the people. And at what point, I mean, we're getting 1776 stuff here. We're
We're
getting
getting
close.
we're getting close because you're messing with kids, and you have a bunch of mad mamas, and I don't blame them. And look, my stance is simple. I'm not against anybody wearing a mask. If you want your child to wear a mask, then have your child wear a mask. But it's the shenanigans, the charades, everything else that is going on. Let me play this other clip. Um, and so there was.
And the thing is, Rex, you're the tech guy. You're the tech guy. And the difference today is that politicians can't be the quintessential politicians of the past. They can't be because people are more, I hate to say this, people are more informed. I don't think people are
Oh,
smarter, but I
they're a
think
lot
people
more
are more
informed.
informed by way of social media. And so government can't just decry that people are stupid, and because one individual says my opinion is, when there's all this evidence out there that can contradict what that one individual says. I mean, it comes down to what the people want. If the majority of people in this district want to not wear masks, then you know what, if you're their elected official, you should support them not wanting to wear a mask. That's who you represent.
I agree, and you hit the nail on the head, folks. It's not about social media. It's not about Facebook or Zuckerberg or who's censoring what or Twitter or any of that. It's instant communications. That's the key thing that differentiates us now from just 10 to 15, even 20 years ago. We have instant communications. I could have live streamed and done live commentary at that school board meeting. Now, I may have had to step out in the hall to actually talk, but that's the key difference that we have today. And politicians can't get by with anything because we'll be there recording it. Everybody has a recording device in their pocket. So, all right, let me go ahead. I'm going to play this clip. This is Adam Bass, who is also my school board rep, by the way, having a little conversation with Michael Miller. And this is one little part of it. So here we go.
Just, again, clarify. Not everyone said they didn't want to have a special meeting. I was open, and am still open, to having a special meeting to address and hear everyone. As I stated earlier, I objected to continuing or adjourning that first meeting. Where we're at right now, in the past week, I haven't been able to really communicate with anybody because, with the exception of myself and the other member who lives in Monroe, everybody else is south of I-10 or in that area that was affected by Ida. So where we're at right now, I can't tell you that. To be honest, it's been hit or miss me trying to get in touch with anybody and clarify anything.
So there was a good bit of time between that meeting and Ida.
Yeah.
I heard you say I a lot. When we talk about our board, we try and use we as much as possible. So are you in communication, or were you in communication after that meeting with those members that are serving with you to get back together to listen to people?
Yes, and there were not, it takes a majority of the board in order to call a special meeting. There were not a majority of the members of the board.
Listen to
that
this.
wanted to call a special meeting.
Okay, so since we're all here, we want to be transparent. Which members of the board did not want to call a special meeting?
I've not been told that. Just to be transparent, I was just simply told there were not enough, there was not a majority.
But you didn't hear that from each member. You
No.
were just told that.
Yeah, I was told that.
Okay.
Did you catch that? The significance of that? Folks,
I
y'all can say what you want about Adam, but his line of questioning there was correct. Let me go back through this one more time. Hold on, real
Was he
quick.
going after Mellerin?
Not really. I would ask Miller in the same question because he caught him in a
Or-
almost lie. Listen closely. I think I backed it up far enough.
Yes, and there were not, it takes a majority of the board in order to call a special meeting. There were not a majority of the members of the board.
You heard that. He said there were not a majority of the members to call a special meeting after the fiasco. Okay, so the line of questioning was about having a special meeting after the fiasco meeting. And Adam's line of questioning was about getting that special meeting called. Now, you just heard what Mellerin said. He said there were not enough board members to call that special meeting. Now, listen carefully one more time, folks.
Wanted to call a special meeting.
Okay, so since we're all here, we want to be transparent. which members of the board did not want to call a special meeting?
I've not been told that. Just to be transparent, I was just simply told there were not enough, there was not a majority.
But you didn't hear that from each member. You
No.
were just told that.
Yeah, I was told that.
Okay.
So, and don't get me wrong, I like Mellerin. His summary that he gave there and his opinion on that whole fiasco was spot on. But he just said that there weren't enough people. But then he had to turn around and say, well, I didn't actually talk to him. I was just told that there wasn't a majority to call a special meeting instead of reaching out to each of the other members. Which, arguably, if you're not careful, could borderline be a walking quorum, but that's a whole other conversation. So I want to be clear here. Adam was questioning Mellerin, rightfully so, with that line of questioning.
Was he trying to trap Mellerin, you think, on the walking quorum question?
No, I don't think he was trying to trap him on the walking quorum. I think he was trying to trap him on the BS that Mellerin was trying to allude that he had talked to the other members when in fact he had not.
Well, why would Bass do that?
He's trying to shift the blame back to Bessie, which is actually where it belongs.
To Bessie or to Mellerin? It's almost as if maybe there's a backstory to him wanting to go after Mellerin.
Well, there very well could be, but at face value, Bessie overrules the governor as far as the school boards and school systems. Because Bessie made a complete fiasco of that meeting and then didn't turn around and haven't tried to do a special meeting, and now you've got Ida that destroyed half the stuff down there. But because nothing was done about it before the hurricane hit, now the school boards and school systems are in limbo again and shift back to the next rung in the chain, or next link in the chain, which is the governor's mandate.
Yeah, well, all that'll come to a head soon enough, I guess.
Yeah, eventually. And I did want to also show, there was a comment, let me find it right here. Give me just a second here.
Additionally, I'm getting messages about Allie Feaster-Smith, if you can imagine that.
Oh, really? So I want to put Brandy Dykes McCarthy's comment. She said, more parents have to get involved to show the board that the majority want masks to be optional. Too many parents aren't being active. And that is a very good point, Brandy. And I just lost my mouse somehow. Okay, that is a very good point, Brandy. So speaking of that, I'm going to start rolling this video and then I'm going to pause it. So this is the video from the entire meeting. Like I said, I got all but the last 5 minutes of it. Angie Darnell was there to speak, did a wonderful job. So did several other people. But I want you to look how many empty seats there are. Now, that's the group that was out front doing their sign protest out by right off Airline Drive out there. But I want you to see how many empty seats are there.
Hey, look at that good-looking blonde right there on the second row.
Yeah, she looks like she's a smart lady sitting there. It looks like she might know a thing or two.
I'll bet she married up.
Married up from the Houghton deal. You didn't tell her you were from Houghton, did you?
You better know I'm from H-Town.
But in all seriousness, folks, that comment was spot on about parents getting involved, because as you can see, there's a lot of empty seats, and you literally had a Bessie board member there explaining what happened from his perspective of the Bessie board meeting, and we've got all those empty seats. Folks, you got to get more butts in the seats at all of these meetings. Every meeting counts. Okay.
Roll your video.
Yeah, let me see if I can get, let's see.
Or are we going to move on?
We'll probably move on a little bit. There were some great deals. My whole video is going to post here in about 30 minutes anyway, folks. So I encourage you just, go check the Bossier Watch Facebook page here after we're done with the show in about 30 minutes or so. And you can click and watch the whole video. I've got the audio boosted, so you should be able to hear it pretty good, better than their live copy. And listen to Angie, and then there were 4 or 5 other parents that spoke, did a real good job too. I just can't remember all the names.
One of the things that I've wondered about is all these people mandating these masks. They're all worried. They're doing so worried about the lawsuits of potentially getting someone to contract COVID, supposedly, or what have you. I wonder what they're going to do when somebody has a problem because they were forced to wear this mask. And I wonder what they're going to do when they get sued for mandating a mask.
Well, that's pretty interesting that you say that. And there's of all things, a TikTok video by a young lady that kind of spells that out. You want to take a look at
Wait a
that for a
minute.
second?
TikTok,
TikTok.
ain't that what our kids watch? Our kids do?
Well, let me tell you something. My wife is addicted to TikTok. I hope she's not watching. She is addicted to TikTok, and I have to be careful because you start clicking on one and watch one video, and you look down, and like 2 hours later, and you don't realize it's even been 2 minutes later, and you go
I've
down the
never
TikTok rabbit.
TikToked. I've never TikToked. I don't TikTok.
It's short form video that is highly addictive.
Okay. Well,
Because the more you tap on something, the more they feed you something related to what you tapped on. I mean, it's crazy. So, but this particular TikTok video has some legitimacy to it. You want to watch it?
let's see it.
All right, here we go.
Well, it looks like Mr. Commander-in-Chief, Chief, is not the only person that can change rules. OSHA decided to change a couple of rules of their own. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. So this week, OSHA decided that if you're gonna make being vaccinated a condition of employment, then the company is gonna be held liable for any adverse reaction. Meaning an adverse reaction is gonna be labeled as a work-related event. A lot of big companies don't like this, and they're starting to backpedal. They're saying that if they had known OSHA was going to do this, then they wouldn't have made it a condition of employment. They're actually now trying to fight it, but here's the thing. Isn't that going to destroy some form of vaccine confidence if you're going to try to fight this? Because the vaccine is safe, right? And if the vaccine is safe, then you have nothing to worry about, and you're not going to really have to pay anything out. So why are you trying to backpedal? It just sounds like you don't want to be held liable for forcing people to do something that they may or may not have wanted to do. But really what it sounds like is you don't want to end up footing the bill for a vaccine that's experimental and may go wrong.
Interesting. Liabilities. Surely they're not worried about, surely the Bossier Parish School Board's not worried about liability, dude.
Surely not. I mean, who knew that TikTok would enlighten you that OSHA had put some blame back on the mandators?
Yes, and I was trying to scroll and find it, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to find it fast enough. Don Thomas, if you're still watching, maybe correct me or put it in the comments or whatever. Seems like I remember reading an email as part of a public information request from, I think it was Mitch Downey with the school board, and specifically said that they were worried about liability. The way I read the email, it wasn't really about the safety of the kids and the health of the kids. It was the liability of the school board or losing their immunity. Let me see if I can find that.
Well, wait a minute. I thought Dawn Thomas was bent at us.
She was commenting a few minutes ago, so I hope she's not still upset with us.
And she even took away our citizen journalist tag.
Well, you know, I think she's not quite as mad at us.
You almost didn't know where to go with that.
I have to be careful sometimes.
I took it as she was saying we were fired.
Right. Here we go. Hold on. I found this email, so buy me about 30 seconds here. Let me get this
All right.
saved.
So as soon as we're done with this, which we're almost done with this, we're going to get on the police jury because apparently there are some complaints about signs in the police jury race. I mean, and we're not going to name which signs, but we're definitely going to go there and we're going to talk about political signs and campaigns and etiquette, because obviously etiquette is out the window nowadays in political campaigns. How we came to this negative place in politics, I'll never know. It used to be so professional.
Yeah, right. I only halfway believe that. So here's the email. Let me see. And I lost my mouse. So I'm doing this with a trackpad. But if we look down here, see in the second dot, the second bullet point there, and this is from, I'm sorry, it wasn't Mitch Down, it's Jason Rowland. All right. Jason says, I realize many of you have begun to receive waivers or documents or parent letters that are letting us know that their children will not wear masks. We received our legal opinion last night, and we must follow the governor's mandate, or we risk losing all of our immunity for protection. They're not accepting any waivers at this time. And
Well,
anybody that's vehemently against this, if you're a parent concerned about that, go enroll in the virtual learning program.
I mean, how can you, if you force somebody to do something that hurts them, how then can you claim immunity?
That's a good question. That's for all those lawyers and billboard attorneys and trial lawyers and ambulance chasers and, oh yeah, the other lawyers to sort out, I
But
suppose.
but it goes back to, and since we're quoting, an email from Dawn Thomas here citing Jason Rowland and what have you, but it goes to the wider question. I mean, this mask mandate and these jabs, all this stuff goes to a wider issue than this. At what point is there enough government mandates and controls that people stand up and object? And how do they object? How do they demand? I would contend that our current politicians, they're not accustomed to the public as a whole in a large swath standing up and objecting to mandates or control implementations by their legislative bodies, not meaning the legislature, but school boards, police juries, city councils. But I think they probably better get used to it pretty quick because people are getting tired of the crap. And I don't know that our elected officials are handling it real well.
Well, I think our elected officials are used to what usually happens, which is nobody really attends the meetings until there's something big or something drama-filled or chaotic, and then people flood a meeting, and then they all go home, and they don't show back up with their pitchforks or torches again. This is what's happening now. I just showed you the video. Yes, there were some protesters there with their signs, and there were some people that got up and spoke, did a really great job, but there were a lot of empty chairs. The gallery upstairs, there was nobody in there. So pretty much there were a lot of crickets chirping around at that school board meeting with a Bessie board member there to also address the school board. And so it's almost status quo, folks. Y'all have got to attend these meetings. I know everybody can't attend every one because of work and family and real life and all that sort of thing. But you got to have butts in seats, and you have to have people that are vocal and that are willing to speak and be coherent about the subject that they're talking about.
And Rex, look, you've been around politics a while, just like I have, but is recalls and firing people, is that the answer all the time?
It's not really. Yeah.
How successful are recalls?
They're usually not very successful.
They're
more often than
rarely-
not, yeah. Like
They're rarely successful.
98% of the time, they're not successful. I just pulled
So-
that number out of my rear end, but I bet I'm close to right.
So this is just you and I talking out loud from a political perspective. I mean, look, I'm not a know-it-all, but what I do think from experience is that you're better off than trying to make a recall to make plans to run against somebody, organize, get a candidate, identify that candidate, organize, get them support, and plan a race to remove people. I mean, because the truth of the matter is, whether somebody is a good candidate or a bad candidate, or an elected politician is good or bad, if you know the issues and you're determining what the issues are that they're wrong on, you've got a platform right there, right?
Exactly. And look, our good friend David Jones put it pretty succinctly. Turnout is the answer, or shut up if you did not vote. And I would take that a little further, David, that it's not just turnout at the polls, it's turnout at these meetings. Look, if you got somebody in there that you don't like in office, recall efforts, that's one way to try to go about it, and that's a legal option, but they're rarely successful. On the other hand, Duke, like you said, if you get a candidate and get them in position, and push that candidate forward, start attending every public meeting, go read Robert's Rules of Order and read the, rules for that public body's meetings, look at the open meetings laws, and use every legal thing in your power to cause them to squirm in their seats. Comment, ask questions, find an agenda item, come up with a comment, and even if it's not on the actual thing you want to talk about, there are always ways to take a comment and word it correctly and twist it around to get your point across, even if it's an unrelated subject. You can still get a few words in edgewise. Again, make the politicians you're not happy with squirm in their seats. Okay, but I'm back on my soapbox again.
And just like us doing the debates, some people would like for us to be more aggressive on the politicians than say what we have. When we have politicians come on the show, we're generally nice to them, right?
Right.
We usually try to give them a couple of tough questions or whatever, but we can't just go straight for their throat and cut their throats. If we can get a little bit out of them on positions and make them say what they are, the more revealing thing is when they don't come on the show.
Exactly.
When you don't have somebody willing to come on a show like this and just talk at the risk of us asking them any question whatsoever, that should be a clue to you about transparency. That right there should be it.
Exactly correct. Sometimes it's what you don't say that can be much more revealing than what you actually do.
So let's move on to the police jury race.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. I was going to show a little bit of video of the protesters outside. Let me roll that for a second. So hold on. I'm going to go here and I'm going to stop the Three Amigos. Let me blank that out. This is going to be a little loud here for a second, so bear with me. So this is before the school board meeting, about 10 minutes before. These are the protesters that you saw with the signs that were inside. They're doing their legal right to actually protest. And they did bring their signs inside, which the which the school board did allow, and the sheriff's deputies had no problem with that. So again, folks, they're out there doing that, but really it was just a handful of them. Okay, so I just want to throw that in there for a second. And now let's move on to the police jury, because the same thing applies to the police jury too. You got to attend these meetings.
So whether you know it or not, there is a police jury race going on. Did you know that?
Not really. Well, there is. I mean, I've seen some signs around. So I guess that's kind of the first clue.
Did you know that we were criticized because we haven't covered it?
What? We haven't covered the police jury race? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but we bring up the police jury frequently. I make fun of them. As a matter of fact, I make fun of my own police juror, Doug Rimmer, all the time, Mr. Taxman himself. And didn't we have some lady on that's like running for police juror? Oh, yeah, Mindy, that's her name. This lady. Just messing with you, Mindy.
She asked to come on the show. We brought her on. She answered questions.
Right.
Maybe we didn't answer or ask every potential question that could have been asked, but she came on.
Right.
And we could have hit her with anything, but
sure.
Our goal was not to pound her down. Our goal was, I would say, an introduction. You and I had a choice, and I'm going to say this out here. You and I had a choice. Which race were we going to focus on, and which one did we do?
True. Well, you're talking about focusing on the police jury race? I'm sorry, I was reading comments.
Yeah, we had a choice to focus on the police jury race or the city council race.
Right.
And we made a conscious decision at the time. We thought it was more important to focus on the city council race, and we did a debate. So we did the debate.
Right.
Because it didn't look like there was going to be a lot of, should I say, differentiation, if that's a word, between the police jury candidates, and the city council race was going to be more consequential.
At least you have three different parties represented, or affiliations represented in the city council race. You have a Republican, you have an Independent, you have a Democrat.
And it's not to diminish the police jury race, because it's important.
Right.
But I will say the police jury race has come full circle. And the other thing was arguably, in which I'm certainly not trying to deter anyone from voting, but I would argue statistically that these races, the city council race and the police jury race, are potentially already over. What
Really?
do you think about that?
Well, if we go by endorsements of, you know, seemingly important names, let me try to put that as nicely as I can. Yeah, it very well could be.
Well, I'm not talking about endorsements. I'm talking about statistically. The majority of all the mail ballots
Oh,
are
true. Okay.
been out and have 9 times out of 10, I would, and I may be wrong. Maybe we can get Stephanie on and can say maybe how many percentage of all the mail ballots have already been returned. But the majority of mail ballots have been out and probably, and they were said to be going to make up 20 to 28% of the total vote in this election. I would argue potentially that's going to decide who wins or who loses in these races.
Yeah, and or historically is you can go by what the mail ballot turnout is, and that usually tracks pretty close to what the actual turnout is at the polls.
Yeah, so with that being said, we had a narrow time limit that we had to focus on either the city council
Right.
race or the police jury race. We chose the city council race. Now,
Right.
back to the police jury race. There has been complaints about signs. Imagine that.
No way. No, surely nobody's complaining about signs in a political race.
But Rex, how many races do you know of that you can remember where these dadgum political signs are put up right along the edge of the roadways? Or I remember even seeing a Raymond Cruz sign right in front of the City of Bossier thing down there off of Benton Road. And you know me and Benton Road and my road rage.
Oh, yeah. Well, and look, you've been involved in some of the sign wars yourself as a political candidate before. So, shall I go ahead and put up cut one?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's see here. Wow. All right. So I'm going to do my best. Again, my mouse, whoops, ran out of battery here. So let me see if I can. All right. What are we looking at? Signs not allowed.
Yeah, so this is like the Bossier Parish little thing that talks about political signs and all the yeah. But if you'll look up there in number 12, and I think that if you go to cut 2, we kind of zoom in on it a little bit more and we highlight specifically the line that we're talking about.
All right. So let me get cut 2 up here. Give me just a second. There we go. Temporary signs without
Temporary
commercial
signs.
message. Yeah.
Yep. And related to an election or other event or matter of public interest may be erected in any zoning district of the city, but not within the public right of way. So when you get to these intersections, right there in the right of way, a lot of them, they're owned by the city, they're owned by the parish, they're owned by the state. And if they're right up there against the roadway, that's actually considered the right of way. Now, countless elections, you've got politicians going and sticking signs up in all these places, and you got them this election right now in the police jury race. They're doing it this election as well. I hadn't been down in South Bossier to know whether they're doing it down there, but I'd be shocked if they weren't doing it. But the point is the voter should the voter should glean from this is look at the people that are taking advantage of the public by sticking these signs in these right of ways. They're not right here, you see it, not within the public right of way, and yet they're doing it anyway. If they would do that, what do you think consideration they're going to give to you on other issues regarding the public?
Yeah, that's a good point. If they can't follow these simple rules, what other rules are they not going to follow? And look, I'll say this, because my biggest issue with the signs is after the election, go take your signs down.
Take them down, but look, if you're going to run for political office, now we got two we got a judicial race coming up,
Right.
and I mean, if you're going to run for office, stop putting the freaking signs in the public right of way. Put them on private property. Don't put them in the damn right of way. This is common sense. And I could look, I could name names. I could name a lot of names, and some of them are very popular people. And I'm not going to go spitting names out, but stop doing it. Let's all be considerate of each other. We all got to live here. Everybody knows who's running. They know your freaking name. They don't need you to put it within, the double yellow line with the little marks in the middle. They don't need it right there to be able to see your name. Okay, they know your name. They got it.
There must not be much progress being made on the bridge over there by your house lately, because you sure do have it out for the roadways the last couple of shows.
Oh, don't even get me started on the damn bridge. Hell, I rode by there yesterday. They ain't got but 3, maybe 4 or 5 pilings drove in there. They probably got 10, 15 more to do.
Well,
They ain't even got 'em.
the problem now is COVID. First it was supply
Oh,
chain, now it's COVID. Oh, and you mentioned the judges race. Yeah, so I saw where Doug Stinson had officially announced that he is running for district judge. That race will be when is that? March? I think it's in March this spring.
yeah. I think it'll be what, April maybe.
March or
When that
April.
race will be.
I'd have to look to see. So forgive me for not
I
knowing
think
offhand.
that will be when you'll have the Benton Fire District millage or tax issue will be up. But hey, the Cypress District. What show would there be about not talking about the Cypress District? And that ties into this. That ties into this police jury race.
It does tie into it. So let's see. Which one are we doing first? The $1 Million Event Center cut?
Well, I was looking at the notes. I mean, I noticed that you haven't looked at the show notes in quite some time.
No, I'm just winging it. Right
You
now,
are winging it.
I don't have a mouse. I'm using a touchpad, so I'm winging this.
But in our notes, and I will point out in the notes that you created, you list that KTVS listed that there were around 400 evacuees at the Robert Berry Memorial Black Bayou Recreation Center.
Yeah, so my question is pretty simple. Let me see if I can actually add that. We're not going to be able to read that. That's not going to work. So my question is, I'm just losing it technically tonight. Hold on just a second. So my question is, we have heard several different things as far as the number of evacuees out at the Cypress Park. And I think it's a good thing because our neighbors down south, obviously Ida has affected the majority of the folks south of us, all the way up into New York State and New York City. So it's a bad deal. So I'm not making light of that fact. But KTBS listed it in their article where they did the live remote deal with Robert Berry and Miss Whitman. And they listed in their article around 400 evacuees. Miss Whitman stated during the live remote session that they were cooking for about getting ready for 200 people. And then Juliana Parks, speaking of police jury races, listed 85 to 100 on her Facebook post. I think it was today, where she was in there shaking hands and kissing babies with Mike Johnson. So I just want to know how many folks are being helped, how many evacuees are actually being helped out at the Cypress Park? Does anybody actually know that answer? You know, full disclosure, I'm not going to the park to go down there and count people. I'm glad that they're able to, that, you know, our tax dollars are able to help some folks out. But does anybody have a firm number on how many people are actually being helped out at that park?
Well, I mean, if you're me, I ain't got a freaking clue. I couldn't tell you. I ain't been out there. But I don't know. I mean, we see it popped up in our Facebook feed every single day it seems like on the police jury website, on Juliana's website, on lots of other people every day about, this rescue mission out at the Cypress, in which, again, we're glad they're doing it, but what is it and what isn't it? I mean, I got a text saying, that somebody rode through there and they didn't see. There was one quote of there being what, like 80 campers or something like that, or
Something like
you
that.
know,
That all of it was supposed to be full, according to a Robert Berry quote. And you're right, Brother Ed. Don't exaggerate on the numbers. Just tell us the numbers. That's it. I mean, it's our tax dollars. That's why, we want to know.
David Jones, use the zipper technique and count. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
He
Always got
must
to
not.
have a comedian in the bunch.
Hey,
So
I will see you on Benton Road in the morning, buddy. I'm going to zipper you.
at least we know David's been paying attention to the show or past shows from the zipper method. So, we got more comments on that than pretty much anything we've done in a while. All right. So, did you know that this event center, that's that $1 million event center? I don't know what, the ceiling and the walls and the floor is made out of, but that's the $1 million event center. For anybody that didn't know.
The $1 million, that looks like a great place to have a fish fry to me.
It does look like a great, and they got plenty of water there too to wash it all down.
Oh, I mean a private fish fry.
Oh, private fish fry. Yeah, for those sheriff's deputies and the DA's office and all those folks
Well,
that they do.
well, I mean, I got to tell you, I'm looking from the back here, but somebody looks awfully familiar right there.
Would that be MJ standing there?
Well, I don't know. It looks like his likeness. I mean, the last time I seen a picture of him, I think he was sending money to what country was that so they can do transgender studies?
Yeah, it seemed like it was a Muslim country. Oh wait, you can't say that because they'll come
Was
after
that
you again.
was that Pakistan?
I One of those countries over there. Let's just put it that way.
But okay, well we're at the $1 million fish fry palace out at
Yeah,
the Cypress district.
yeah,
Okay, I got it. I'm good.
yeah. They're
And
shaking babies and kissing hands, or I'm sorry, kissing babies and shaking hands, whatever. And I did have a question because mysteriously they haven't really shown any pictures. Whoops, wrong one. They hadn't shown very many pictures of the evacuees, which I just thought was kind of odd. Um, that they hadn't done any interviews with any of the evacuees or anything like that, to kind of tell their story and why they're up here and that sort of thing. Because, a lot of times those types of stories have an emotional tie with people and will encourage other folks to help give a little more to help out those in need. But oddly, this is missing from it, but we do have some pictures of some of the evacuees. Oh, wait,
well, I look at that kid's
wait a
shirt.
minute.
Play like a boss.
Yeah.
Look at
I'm
play.
not really, wait a minute. Hold on a second. You're off on a
Well,
tangent.
there's MJ back there giving out food.
Yeah, but who's that guy? That guy beside him looks familiar. Is that Lombardino?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are you telling me MJ and Rusty Lombardino, peas and carrots? Is that what you're telling me?
Well, politics, strange bedfellows, but in an emergency
Can
situation, hey, they're serving food. I'm not out there doing it, folks.
can
So
you
kudos to them.
can you pan the picture sideways? Alan Seaball's got to be around there somewhere.
I don't know. See, I was kind of moving around and
I got
zooming. I don't see Alan yet.
where. Wait a minute. I bet. Look at Rusty's looking to the side there. I bet he's looking at Alan standing over there
It's
off
got to be
camera.
out. Yeah, Alan's got to be over there on the corner.
I'm
Got
blown
to be.
away here.
Yeah,
I'm blown away here. You just never know what you'll find out on Facebook. Or was this
yeah.
on TikTok?
No, I think this was. As a matter of fact, I think these came from Juliana's post. Somebody was stalking her post, apparently.
$1 million event center. I'm telling you what, Rusty out there. Look at Rusty.
Yeah,
I can't believe that.
yeah. That's the $1 million event center, folks. And we make fun of that for a reason. We have a whole video posted on that $1 million event center last year. You just got to go to the Bossier Watch video, scroll down a little bit. You'll see it.
But
Okay.
on a serious note, I am told that there is a reason that the good congressman is out there.
Oh, a good reason, other
A
than
good
shaking
reason.
babies and kissing hands.
So supposedly, as word would have it, that all the evacuees that are out there, I'm assuming paying for trailer rental space, that FEMA or whoever is not going to be covering that within a week, and that they will have to relocate and go to a hotel to whatever FEMA dictates, within about a week. So the money's going to end for the Cypress district.
Now look, I've given Robert Berry credit before. Let me give him some more.
I'm just telling you.
I know people are going to be shocked. Let me give Robert Berry some more credit. He did allow, and I mentioned it earlier this year, he did allow the junior bass fishing league, which is like, right before high school age kids, to have tournament out there at Cypress, and use the park, even though it was closed, to have the weigh-in, and he allowed the parents and some of the spectators to come in. And so he can do a good thing or two. I'll give him a little bit of credit where credit's due. Surely, he's not going to kick all these stranded evacuees and their kids out. Surely not. Surely this isn't about just getting some federal dollars to help out the bottom line of that park.
That thought did cross my mind, and it made me, I got to thinking about it a little bit, and I wonder, it made me ask, what if every trailer spot was rented for the whole year, how much revenue would that bring into the district? And then what would the district numbers then look like?
That's a good question, but I can tell you this so far for 2021. I can give you some rough numbers here. I mean, these are accurate numbers. I'm just going to give you a rough guesstimate of what I think. So their total RV daily income, revenue, for this year, 2021, has been $80,000. That's for the RVs daily. I'm not talking about cottages or the regular camping. I'm just looking at the RVs right now. And then the weekly RV has brought them in $24,000 right now. So a little over $104,000, almost $105,000 this year in RV. And let's see, Jessica Langley Maddox says sites are $23 a day. So here's the thing, Duke. Right now, with the revised numbers from the Cypress district, their corrected revised numbers, as we talked about, found a little mistake in their numbers. They did get it corrected, no problem. Right now, they're sitting in the black for the year, $90,000 in the black. Okay? But based on the past history for the last several years, that's not going to hold up very long. Again, based on their past history and my guesstimate, they're definitely going to end up in the red later this year. Now, I could be wrong, because if the federal government decides to reimburse for the camping spots and additional RV spots, that could maybe might keep them at even. They'd be close, based, again, on their numbers for the last several years. Not Rex's numbers, their actual numbers. So,
now,
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's going to be a paradox. I'm sure we will cross all those numbers off when we go. So I need you to go back to a post of Barry Butler.
Okay.
Because I think I'm getting called out.
Let me, I'll tell you what, we'll just go back to here. And you're talking about this one? Wait.
Yes.
Didn't Duke spend days helping the flood victims in South Bossier in 2016?
Now, I'm not sure if he's saying, you use it for politics or not, because, I have been in politics, but he is correct. I did, as well as you, and as well as our good lawyer friend,
John Dalton.
John Dalton. My wife, she was actually at a different location than I was down there at that event. But in addition, not just that flood, Katrina, the one in Baton Rouge, you and I were hauling all the loads back and forth down there.
Well, I'll just say this. When you and I were taking those loads down south, it was hot and miserable And we did have some help and some volunteers down there, but we physically did a lot of the work too, unloading what, I don't know, was that a 40 or 50-foot van or whatever? And let me tell you something. We discussed, some political happenings, but I don't remember our conversation ever being about, let's get this stuff down there and take some cool selfies so Duke can get reelected or get elected to office. That conversation never happened.
Exactly. And the point is, you don't do things. It's not about when you do things when you're running for office. It's about when you do things and nobody's looking. It's about when you do things, when you're truly trying to make a difference over time. You don't ask for recognition, you don't seek recognition. Admittedly, did you and I make videos when we did things like that? We did, but we didn't do it trying to seek recognition. I would venture to say, and it's all on our Facebook feeds from those years, multiple years over the span of a lot of different events. It was all about drawing attention to the need and the suffering of people in those areas and trying to get more help. That
Right.
was what it was about.
Right.
There's a difference. There's a
Yeah.
difference in you have to know your why. I mean, and I don't know,
Well,
maybe I shouldn't.
there's a difference in that and a difference in, now granted, MJ and Rusty are handing out food and they're serving food and there's work involved in that. And I think Zaxby's or whoever donated the food or, however that worked out, that's all great. But there's a difference in that and then taking the pictures that we saw earlier, which is everybody standing around jaw jacking, and actually getting your hands literally dirty. There's a huge difference in that.
It, it is. But it should never be about trying to get attention or trying to do it because of a political campaign or what have
Now,
you.
you should do
I
it
can
to inspire others to lend their help as well.
Absolutely. And we're not saying that Rusty is or Mike is doing that for this reason. I know why Mike was there. Mike was there about the issue of the evacuees not being able to continue to stay there because it was a problem that was brought to the attention of Mike or was said to be brought to the attention of Mike, that it would be cheaper for them to stay there than it would be to go have to get a hotel room somewhere else. But yet FEMA or whoever won't allow those folks to stay there.
Yeah.
Is that the role of a congressman to address relief effort stuff? Yeah, I would say it was. So, and he's there to hand out a thing of food, hey, good deal. Not throwing a rock.
Yeah, in all seriousness, folks, if our tax dollars are going to be, let me just say, spent out at the Cypress District, I would just as soon it's spent helping folks that are displaced from South Louisiana right now over that hurricane because it's complete devastation down there. So I would just assume we have evacuees up there filling up those spots and having, MJ out there shaking babies and kissing hands, so to speak,
And
to try to keep them
and
out there.
and Rusty Lombardino, he didn't ask for this. He didn't even know we was going to talk about him or pick on him.
Right.
But he is one of your local Republican State Central Committee members out there volunteering his time. And, it's good to see him and Mike Johnson, standing there serving the community
Yeah,
together.
and even Juliana Parks, thanks for posting this on Facebook because it gave us something to talk about tonight. See, it all works out.
So cockroach of the week.
Oh, wow. Um, hmm, hmm, hmm.
I was just messing with you because I don't think there's anybody rises to the occasion this week.
Unless it's Amanda Nottingham.
Yeah, but she may have to wait till Thursday to get anointed.
You're right. We got to see how this plays out tomorrow. So, no cockroach of the week. No, we should make it Rusty Lombardino.
I don't know. I mean, sucking his pride up and all. I mean,
Oh, you're right. Okay, so no cockroach of the week this week, but we'll see after tomorrow's city council meeting who the cockroach of the week will be for next Tuesday. And we're also, don't forget, going to begin revealing our plan to fix Bossier City.
good night, Rex Moncrief.
Adios, amigo.